We start in Washington, where Joe Biden's inauguration is just hours away. And despite never conceding defeat, President Trump is publicly wishing Biden's administration success. In prepared remarks released by the White House, Trump also condemns the attacks on the Capitol, but his supporters, but adds, quote, "As I prepare to hand power over to a new administration, I want you to know that the movement we started is only the beginning." So joining us for more is Bloomberg's White House correspondent, Josh Wingrove. Josh, this is one of the first times we've heard the president acknowledge a different administration. What's your takeaway from Trump's message?
Well, I mean, it was calculated. It was more conciliatory than he normally does. Whether there is a legal side to that is unclear. Remember, there's still a question about whether he personally will face any blowback from the January 6th storming of the Capitol. But, you know, he's set to leave tomorrow. It's not really clear how many people are actually going to be there to say goodbye. So Vice President Mike Pence, for instance, won't be. He is going to go to the inauguration, which Trump is, of course, bucking, a century or more of precedent for U.S. presidents to attend the inaugurations of their successors. So Pence, because of logistics and the fact that D.C. is all locked down, had a choice. He could go to Biden's inauguration or he could go to Trump's goodbye at Andrews Air Force Base, and he's going with number one. He's going with the inauguration at risk of not going or of angering Trump. So bit of a lonely exit. The speech that he recorded, it seems to have been recorded maybe yesterday or much earlier today. It was not recorded with press in the room, about 20 minutes long. It's, and it leaves open the question about whether this is it for Donald Trump's political career or whether he'll still kick the tires on 2024.
It does leave that to question. You know what else it leaves to question? The relationship between the president and the vice president. Have they spoken lately? Do you know what's going on there? I know it had gotten pretty tumultuous.
They have spoken lately. Pence was spotted at the White House today, although it's not clear who he spoke with. He did have a coronavirus related meeting today. It seems like they are on smoother terms than they were in the aftermath of the January 6th. Trump thanked Mike Pence today in his remarks, but I think that if Mike Pence tries to run, if Trump doesn't run, I don't know that he will necessarily get the endorsement from the president, which is unusual for such a loyal vice president. But I don't know. They're not beefing as much as they used to, it seems.
I think one thing we've learned from this administration is that anything could happen, and up until the very last day. But sources say that President Trump is planning to grant clemency to as many as 100 people. I saw a couple of expected folks on the list, rapper Lil Wayne, other people believe that Trump may try to pardon his family or himself. What are you hearing about this?
The latest is that we don't expect him to try to pardon family or himself. It's a bit of a double-edged sword. If you do that, you could actually end up getting yourself into more trouble than if you didn't. So it sounds like he's going to steer away from that. We frankly thought we might have those pardons by now. That the expectation is they will land today, and it's always a bit of a last-minute scramble. But yeah, Lil Wayne is on there. Kodak Black is another candidate for it. We just don't know, what kind of numbers he's going to be talking about. But it does look like he's going to duck that sort of theory, at least, that he should try pardoning himself sort of in advance. And that, that people don't seem to agree on whether that's legal or not. Donald Trump sounded like he might want to test the waters on it, but now it doesn't look like he's going to.
Okay, I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. Notable people missing, Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, ex-aide Steve Bannon. But a couple people, apparently Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, of course, he reportedly said that a lot of people were encouraging the president to pardon some of the rioters from last week. Do you know the latest on that and if he might actually consider this?
We don't. The White House has ducked that question, but it's a really core one because, of course, a lot of the blowback from Trump is stemmed from that riot, and some of the language he used today kind of effectively minimized the riot. He, talked about the importance. He essentially echoed a lot of the themes and language that he would lace into speeches that would sort of gin up the crowd in the first place leading up to that riot. So he's not expressing a lot of contrition with regards to that. Remember, he said what he did was totally adequate or appropriate, excuse me. So, it's possible. In other words, he's bought himself room or elbow room to pardon people because he has not really said that he did anything wrong himself. He has condemned the violence generally. He hasn't really gone into specifics on the protesters, so it's possible, but they haven't really signaled it one way or the other.
Okay, Josh Wingrove, thank you for joining us.
The biggest stories the moment they happen from around the globe. Subscribe to Bloomberg Quick Take now for insight in an instant.